Hello guys, what is up? Welcome to Lost Ark. This is going to be my first impressions, kind of thoughts, opinions on the game. I played a little bit of the closed beta last night and just recorded this. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the game. It doesn't feel like something that I want to get into. It feels really strange because it almost feels like I'm playing League of Legends combined with an MMORPG. Which is completely the opposite of what New World is like for me, because New World is very much more like WoW, but I guess this is like WoW meets League of Legends. It just feels like there's too many passives and battle abilities and things like that, but the story of Lost Ark I'm loving so far. This is maybe the first hour I'm in. I've just got out of the first city and I'm in Log Hill, for those people that would know that. This is where I am. I get that it's a closed beta at the moment, so they're probably like overpowering the characters so you can make quick progression. I was playing as an assassin for this gameplay, but it just feels like you have too many abilities. But again, they probably are just overpowering us because they want us to like progress in the game, experience the end game, that kind of thing. But leveling up your skills doesn't feel right at the moment. It feels like you just have everything too soon. Like you can combo off of stuff and you can slaughter humongous groups of enemies just by yourself, which seems really weird because in most other games you'd have to be attacking quite a few things to actually do anything, because you just seem to do excessive amounts of damage, whereas in any other game you would not be doing excessive amounts of damage and you would be getting slaughtered. The amount of health you have in comparison to the amount of things that are attacking you and how much damage they do to you seems ridiculous as well. It's like, how can there be this many enemies surrounding me right now and they're only doing like 1 or 2 damage to me, or sometimes 10. Like, they don't seem to attack fast enough. I mean, I love the story so far, but the gameplay, in my opinion, just isn't the greatest. It's really difficult for me to kind of get into. Maybe it's just not my type of game, but for those of you that are used to a game like this, I guess maybe this is a game for you. But yeah, personally it's not for me. The story, I love. The story is so much better than New World, and honestly the character design, character creation, the types of characters they've got is so much better than New World. I kind of wish they'd taken more time on New World, because obviously if you aren't already aware, this is another game from Amazon Games that's just come out. But I don't know, if they'd just spent a bit longer on New World, it could have been just as good as this in terms of story, character design, character models, and they could have had unique bosses. But for me, they didn't do that in New World. But for this, I feel like they've taken that bit extra time and they've thought about it, and there's actually more to it. So it's a bit more like your standard MMORPG that's in like 4th person. But hopefully, seeing this, you'll think, maybe New World, not too bad. But it's just difficult to imagine 2 games that are so different, but could have been really good, but aren't. Like, it just doesn't make sense how they can make 2 games that are so polar opposite from each other. Because they have mounts, they have a decent story, they've got 5 or 6 different classes already in the game for the beta, and they're going to add more, and they're going to add more mounts. Like, to me this is so much more like WoW than New World, but yet New World was hyped up so much more. Saying all of that, I do like the assassin. Like, the character that I chose for this little gameplay example for you guys, I do like it. I've enjoyed kind of using them and experiencing it. Like, I enjoy the ultimates that this assassin has as well. I went for the Death Blade instead of the Shadow Hunter, and it's quite fun. They have 3 different swords, and the ability range that they have is quite nice, although to me, as I've already said, it seems a bit excessive. Like, I don't understand why you'd have 6 abilities at level 1. Like, you'd think you'd have 1 or 2, but again, maybe this is a beta thing. Maybe in the actual game you would have only 1 ability to begin with, which maybe wouldn't seem excessive. But there's a nice looter feel to it, and there seems to be strong progression. I'm not so much of a fan that you have to click everywhere. I like being able to use WASD to walk around and control my own camera. But that's personal preferences in the end, I think. And it is strange how you can just walk by enemies without them attacking you. Like, a lot of enemies seem to be passive if they're like animals. I like that they've added like jumping over stuff and climbing mechanics, though it just adds another element to the game. And so far the map design of the areas I've been in has been quite interesting, and there's been a lot to them, and they've visually been quite nice. I wouldn't say it's on the same level as New World visually in map design, but definitely for character design and character models, etc. I'm going to skip through some of these because I don't want to ruin the story for some of you guys. For those of you that haven't really seen it, I don't know if this will be part of the story or not. Obviously it's the beta, I'd assume it probably is, but they might change and adapt small amounts of things. So in my hour and a half, 2 hours of playing through, I feel like it's a good game for those that like controlling a character like this. Kind of League of Legends meets WoW in terms of ability range, but movement. It is strange how it's on a locked cam. I feel like there's probably a way that you can turn it to an unlocked cam where it would then follow your mouse, but all I experienced was you would click and then the camera would go in that direction when you walked that way. But there's probably a way of changing that if you wanted to. I did experience quite a lot of people in the surrounding areas going through the same kind of missions that I was. There didn't seem to be clear options for group making or matchmaking or looking for groups. I did actually go through a small kind of early game dungeon as well. It called itself a dungeon, but really it was just kind of one room that had about 30 enemies in that needed defeating. But we went through that and it seemed quite easy. I've seen obviously the other dungeons have humongous bosses, which again seems really strange because you only have like 1,000 health, but yet these humongous bosses can't kill you, even though they've got like 60,000 health. Like, why can't they do enough damage to me to kill me? But here's a little look at the skill tree. Obviously when you're putting points into different skills, you then unlock the ability to put a point into this or a point into that. So I'll put 3 points in the top one, and then we should be able to put a point in any one of the top row, I think. No, 4 points, yep, there we go. And then I can pick one of these. So this is like passives, like extra crit, things like that. So we'll choose extra crit. But there's obviously clear builds and paths that you can make for this, and as you progress, I believe you'll be able to respec as well. So that's a really important thing. I don't know if the respecs will be free or will cost, but so far my impressions of Lost Ark are positive and negative. I'd say out of 10 it's probably a 6 or 7. It has a lot of potential and a lot of market for growth, but to me everything just seems a bit too overpowered. Again, this could be just because it's a beta. We'll obviously look at it again when it's fully released, but this is my thoughts at the moment. I would recommend checking it out if it's something that looks like something for you. So this is a little example of the ultimate. I'm not really sure what the Deathbringer ultimate does, but it seems to put you into like a almost undamageable state, and you might do a little bit more damage for the time that it's active. Anyway, final thoughts. It's a good game. Needs a bit of work, but has a lot of promise. I just want to say thank you for watching. If you've watched all the way through this, guys, I appreciate it, and I hope to bring out some more Lost Ark content for you as and when I see the improvements that I've mentioned, because I believe it needs it. And hopefully, if you haven't already checked out New World, go check that out as well. Links will be in the description and popping up around as well. So if you want to see more content from me, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.